Coverage simply superior.
Sasso insecticide spray and coil.
Oh, hello, good evening, welcome. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live from a news hub at Desawe Kanda. I am Alfred Ocansey. Coming up tonight is all praise within the Catholic community across the globe following the successful election of America's Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost as the new pontiff, whose name will now be Pope Leo XIV, the first pope from the United States. But what lies ahead of the Catholic Church? It's a fundamental question we ask tonight. Also, opposition New Patriotic Party describes the first 120 days of the John Dramani Mahama administration as bitter days, passing a damning verdict on the government. We have highlights of a press briefing they held earlier today for you. Ablekuma North still remains unrepresented in Parliament, but the 2024 Election Task Force and the Electoral Commission are charting a path for the collision of the results of that December 7 election in the Ablekuma North constituency. The IGP has been talking about this. The Electoral Commission has also been talking. We have a conversation tonight. As always, you're an integral part of it. Let's hear from you. The hashtag we're using is Ghana Tonight on Facebook and on X. Let's get talking. Let's settle for Ghana Briefs.
The new Pope is Cardinal Robert Prevost. Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost of the United States has been elected the 267th Pope. Prevost, 69, from Chicago, Illinois, is the first ever Pope from the United States. He will be known as Leo XIV. A leader with global experience, he spent much of his career as a missionary in South America and more recently led a powerful Vatican office for bishop appointments. He is expected to build on Pope Francis' reforms. The Inspector General of Police is demanding the Electoral Commission to provide a clear roadmap outlining the date and venue for the collation of parliamentary results in the Ablekuma North constituency. His remarks were made during a meeting with the National Election Security Task Force amid concerns over the collation process in the constituency.
We as security agencies are not arbiters of election results. That responsibility lies solely with the Electoral Commission. We have to secure the environment within which the truth is determined. I would urge the EC to provide the National Election Security Task Force with a roadmap with respect to date and place for the finalization of the collation.
The Interior Minister Muntaka Mohammed Mubarak has issued a strong warning to drug dealers in Ablekuma Central, declaring that the ministry and the nation's security agencies are coming for those destroying the future of Ghana's youth. This comes after the minister visited the Zongo community in the Ablekuma Central constituency to speak to the youth on the danger of drug abuse.
We in the Zongos are just like any ordinary Ghanaian who can rise to be president, can rise to be minister, can rise to be directors, can rise to be generals, can rise to be everything any other Ghanaian wishes for himself or herself. And we will not allow drugs and other vices to stand our way.
The Teachers and Educational Workers Union of the TUC, TEWU-TUC, is threatening to disrupt operations at public universities if the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, GTEC, continues to engage a rival group in the appointment of university governing councils. At a news conference in Accra, the General Secretary of TUC, King James Azotiba, issued a strong warning to GTEC.
We have a Federation of Senior Staff Association. They are not in council. We have GAWA. They are not in council. Are they not also having members? But they all come under us when there's any problem. And a council rep is not a rep who go there to sit in his own interest or on a small group interest. We sit in the interest of the workers of the public universities. So we will resist it.
Ghanaian statesman and founding member of the NPP, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, has lauded President Mahama for fulfilling some of his 120-day social contract promise to Ghanaians. He urged the president to take tough measures in the fight against mining in forest reserves and water bodies.
What I see so far is quite touched a lot of them. However, I am still not happy about the destruction of our water bodies. Even though he's done so far so good, I would say, but to me, his main target should be the the correction of the mess that have been created by so-called miners in our forest areas.
There's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Ghana Tonight. As always, probably brought to you by Flamingo Paint, Simply Superior, Saxo Insecticide Spray and Coil, Kum Tum Tum Prekon. Coming up tonight, Opposition New Patriotic Party describes the first 120 days of President John Dramani Mahama as bitter days, passing a damning verdict on the government. We have highlights of a press conference that they held earlier today at the Minority Caucus in Parliament. The Minority Leader, Alexander Apenyomakin, you'll see there. Essentially, the highlights of this press conference that they addressed earlier today is going to be on your screen right now. They say, quote, "The government's inaction on illegal mining is not just disappointing, it is a betrayal." While in opposition, the NDC loudly declared that if elected, they would impose a state of emergency to confront Galamsey head-on. But 120 days into office, government not only failed to do so, but they have completely abandoned the urgency they once preached. We have witnessed persistent power outages these 120 days of President Mahama, and we do not even know where our Minister of Energy and Green Transition is. We're using torchlights to search for our Energy Minister, but we cannot find him. Says there were headline-grabbing pledges intended to ease burdens on students and parents, but how many of these have been truly fulfilled? So Alexander Apenyomakin. And also, the reality, it says, is stuck. Quote, "Not a single first-year university student has received a fee-free education under this policy so far." You hear the president speak about education. The president yesterday, during that 120-day account that he gave, talks about in the coming days the refund that will be given to the first-year students and that there's no fee stress. We'll recall that a bit, what the president said, but the minority's verdict is that, well, that's a stark reality. None of the first-year students have so far enjoyed that. Also, that this government has gone to great lengths to create the impression that it is cutting down on expenditure by appointing fewer ministers. And they parade this move as an act of prudence and fiscal discipline. But in reality, it is more than political theater designed to deceive the Ghanaian people. Goes on and talks about the state of the economy as well. But this is what the president said with regards to the state of the economy, measures taken so far, and the reflection in the appreciation of the cedi, much in contrary to the minority's position on their verdict of the state of the economy 120 days on. Take a look.
We promised to hold a national economic dialogue within the first 90 days to understand the state of our economy and build consensus on the way forward. On March 3rd and 4th, 2025, the government of Ghana convened the National Economic Dialogue at the Accra International Conference Center, bringing together partners including the private sector, civil society organizations, traditional authorities, and academia. The participants presented a comprehensive report with clear recommendations to restore macroeconomic stability and regain confidence in our economy. These included enhancing fiscal and monetary coordination, reviewing the foreign exchange regime, implementing major tax reforms, overhauling the public financial management system, reforming state-owned enterprises, strengthening expenditure controls, establishing a credible medium-term expenditure framework, promoting strict fiscal discipline on the part of government, and aggressively pursuing inclusive growth. The implementation of these recommendations has begun to yield results. The currency is becoming fairly stable, inflation is inching downwards, and we have reduced the excessive borrowing that had become the trademark of past governments. The report also provided valuable advice on promoting industrialized agriculture and aligning skills development with national priorities. We've taken this advice seriously, and implementation is underway, guiding our economic policy decisions. Following the recommendations of the National Economic Dialogue, we've amended the Public Financial Management Act 2016, Act 921, to introduce a debt rule that aims to reduce the ratio of debt to GDP to 45% by the year 2034. We've also established an operational rule to post an annual primary surplus of at least 1.5% of GDP on a commitment basis.
That's the president there, and in talking about the economy and then also the measures that have been put in place, the minority says that that is not the reality because they also take a look on the flip side of things, referencing the hardship that they are also talking about. But Joe Jackson is a financial analyst, specific case of the cedi. We hear the president zeroing in on that. And today, as Bloomberg has ranked the cedi as the best performing currency in the month of April. Mr. Jackson, good times for the cedi, and hearing what the president said yesterday as well.
Good evening, and good evening to your guests. Listen, in a sense, it's a coming together of a very favorable external climate that has, and internal commitments that have been met that come together to create this situation where the cedi is stable and appreciating. And so we have to admit that number one is the effect of the Trump tariff war. That tariff war and its whole, the instability, volatility has created a certain storm which has benefited the cedi. Number one, the dollar has depreciated against a basket of major currencies. And so the dollar depreciating against the cedi in a lot of ways is not surprising. And number two is also this, that the whole global instability has meant that there's a flight to gold. Now, that flight to gold has meant that the value of our gold reserves have appreciated, and that has helped push up the cedi. When you add that to the fact that the instability, the same instability created by the prospect of this tariff war, means that estimates of global growth have been dropped, and demand for fuel and oil has reduced because of this estimated drop in production across various places from China to the US, etc. The price of petroleum and its products dropped. That's our single biggest import. So that creates a beneficial effect for us. And when you add that to the war, the fact that the Ukraine Russia war doesn't seem to be ending soon, and the very latest threats of Pakistan and India going to war, listen, gold keeps spiking, the price of gold keeps going up, petroleum prices are down, and listen, this is a good external environment for the city. Now, why have we been able to take advantage of this? Number one, continued commitment of the government to reduce expenditure and to stay on track has been really good. Because sometimes there's a good external situation, but internally you are unable to take advantage of it. This time we are able to take advantage of it. And our commitment to reduce expenditure is fantastic. That to the gold for reserves process, which has now taken our reserves to where the highest it's been for the last number of years. We are in a good space. We are in a really good space. And some people are even projecting that the city could continue appreciating, right? And the prospect of inflation coming down because of what the central bank is doing in terms of keeping rates high is good. The icing on the cake is gold board, and the prospects of gold board improving our reserves and our retention so that the city is even further strengthened. So those are the costs as I see it. Those are the costs, and it could continue for another 3 to 6 months.
All right.
But there are some risks on the horizon. Number one is that Cocoa is still not doing well. So that's it. Now bills are coming due. Our Forex bills are coming due. But guess what? Because the cedi is appreciating, the cost of those Forex bills are even not as high as they could be.
Used to be.
So generally, we're in a good space. But because a lot of it is caused by an external factor, which we don't really have control over, and which we don't know how long it will last, we can only assume that this beneficial external effect will last for another 3 to 6 months. Be more, but at this moment, President Trump is so impulsive and so volatile that we don't know. But all we know is that at this moment, Ghana is in a good space.
Now, you talk about the good space, but then you narrow it down to the external climate, internal commitment. Rightly put, the external climate that is favoring us at this point, we don't have control over. But the internal commitment that you talk about, we have control over it. What can be done to ensure that these gains the city is seeing will be sustained for a longer period so it will trickle down to the ordinary Ghanaian? Because the person watching us right now is still asking questions of Guta, for instance, as to why prices of goods and services are still high on the market. And they make the point that they've already imported goods with the previous rate of almost 16 cedis to the dollar. And so now that it's come down to a little over 13 cedis 50 pesos, they cannot have a direct and immediate reflection in the reduction in the price of goods and services. So what measures have to be put in place to sustain these gains for a longer period of time?
To what we are doing well. Number one, retain the commitment to reduce expenditure. Number two, keep fighting inflation. Number three, get the gold board up and running in a transparent and accountable manner. And those are within our control. Those are things we can do ourselves. and then it will make a difference.
And you highlight gold board there. The prospects of gold board, you say, cannot be discounted in the analysis, in the scheme of things, from what we are seeing with the appreciation of the cedi in terms of value against the dollar, is it not?
Cat and gold board, I've been a very, very vehement advocate for the gold board, what the benefits of the gold board could bring to Ghana, especially now that our cocoa is underperforming, and the fact that gold has outperformed even the US dollar over the last 8 years, over 260%. The fact that gold prices even still spiking and growing due to the instability and the global reduced demand for all other things. Also because the dollar is regarded with a suspicious and jaundiced eye. Listen, those things all mean that gold board should work in a transparent manner, in an accountable manner, and we will reap the benefits.
See, but whether this cedi appreciation we're seeing now is sustained or not goes beyond what is happening externally. A lot more of the burden of sustainability is on the internal commitment, is it not?
That's depend on what government is committed to doing, and they should keep the commitment. They should keep doing the right thing as they're doing. But in addition, the external factors should be favorable too. It's that combination that has delivered the appreciation that we are experiencing.
I see, but the injection of the $490 million by the Bank of Ghana onto the forex market in April, that also did play a role, is it not? That cannot be glossed over.
Think about it. It does play a role. And the Bank of Ghana can do that because of increased reserves. Mm-hmm. The Bank of Ghana can do that because of reduced demand. So listen, that's why it's playing out well for us. The Bank of Ghana has a little bit more freedom to inject more dollar for us to see the appreciation that we all stand to enjoy.
Well, Mr. Jackson, appreciate you for this. Thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. And as indicated, the conversation about the sustainability of the gains of the cedi as we are seeing now, and you analyze both the external and internal factors that's contributed to the cedi's strength, the growing strength in terms of value against the major trading currency. Well, the finance minister has been talking. He says, quote, "I want to use that opportunity to assure all that what we are seeing, especially the appreciation of the cedi, will not only continue, but will be sustained. That this is not a 9-day wonder. There will be stability, the cedi will be stronger, and government essentially expects to support these efforts so the Ghanaians can feel the impact." And that's the fundamental expectation of the Ghanaian people. How all of this we're talking about in terms of the figures and the appreciation of the cedi in value will trickle down to the ordinary man on the ground. That's how you make meaning. Analyzing the state of the economy is not so much about the figures. It's a lot more about how we feel and not what we are told. So that's the fundamental denominator in understanding how this state of economy will make sense to you and I as a people. So we'll see how the sustainability measures the finance minister talks about would also be implemented going forward. But that's it. Coming up next here on Ghana Tonight, the Ablekuma North constituency still remains unrepresented. Just so you know, they don't have an MP in this 9th Parliament, Ablekuma North constituency. Reason being, the 2024 elections, that results have not been declared as yet for a number of reasons, including the inability of the Electoral Commission to collate the results from some 3 polling stations. The last time they tried to do that, we know what happened. The level of insecurity there, the Ghana Police Service at the time said they had picked intelligence as a result, recommended that that particular election that's the collation, be postponed. There was a meeting today. The Inspector General of Police is demanding the Electoral Commission to provide a clear roadmap outlining the date and venue for the collation of the parliamentary results in the Ablekuma North constituency. Now, this remark from the IGP was made during the meeting with the National Election Security Task Force amid concerns over the collation process The SEC was there, Electoral Commission was there, the Ghana Police Service itself as well, and the Ghana National Fire Service. But take a look at what the IGP said earlier today.
We as security agencies are not arbiters of election results. That responsibility lies solely with the Electoral Commission. We have to secure the environment within which the truth is determined. I would urge the EC to provide the National Election Security Task Force with a roadmap with respect to date and place for the finalization of the collation.
IGP Christian Tete Yohunu emphasized the need for swift action to restore public confidence in the electoral process.
The eyes of the nation and indeed the world are upon us to see how we manage this situation. The way we handle the situation in Ablekuma North will resonate across the country. It will set the tone not only for this election, but also for public confidence in the years to come.
That's the IGP there, Christian Tete Yohunu, speaking there at that election task force meeting earlier today. Also, Samuel Tete, who is the deputy chair of the Electoral Commission in charge of operations, was at this same meeting, and this is what he had to say after the IGP's demand for a clear roadmap. Take a look.
There have been various attempts to conclude the Ablekuma North parliamentary constituency, which is the one outstanding. We hope that as a commission, as we engage each other over here, we will actually have solutions to the challenges that we've actually had so far as the conclusion of the Ablekuma North collation process is concerned.
Well, just some 6 weeks ago, when I sat with the Director of Training at the Electoral Commission, Dr. Sebo Kweko, he did indicate the challenges at the last instance when the Electoral Commission tried to finish up his work in the Ablekuma North constituency and what they were expecting of the Ghana Police Service. Take a look at this.
A declaration of the Ablekuma North election results.
Thank you very much. You know, you are aware that at the collation center on the 7th of December, some people attacked the collation center and destroyed our pink sheets, that is the account from the return officers. So we needed to get the results in another form. So I think the NDC brought about 119 or so of the pink sheets. They were left with about 62. The MPP has also brought us the soft copies of that. So the return officer wanted the presiding officers to validate the soft copies. Now we've done the validation, we are left with about 3. But the issue is that the 3 that is left, if you put the total registered voters there, it could change the result if they are added to the second candidate. Normally, if it is said that the gap is so wide that the 3, in terms of total polling station registered voters, if you add them to the second person, it will not make any difference. You go ahead and declare. But here is the case that the difference is marginal. So if you give the total registered voters votes in that in those 3 polling stations to the second person, the person will overtake the third person. So to me that we need to go on. And the reason why we are not getting we are not yet over the 3 and the 1. One of them, the presiding officer is a lady. He said that he was attacked at the collation center when she was going to submit her documents, so she ran away. He's not comfortable appearing before at the collation center where the 2 parties and their supporters are there, because he doesn't know what will happen after he has come to validate. So he said that she's not ready. But the return officer said that she has sent the results to him, but he's not ready to come face to face to validate. So the return officer will have to take a decision on that. Then the other one, the presiding officer appeared before the coalition team. He is a man. He is saying that he validates the vote for the MPP candidate and the NDC candidate, but he doesn't validate the rejected ballots. So in terms of the vote for the candidate, you think they are correct?
But there was a rejected ballot on the soft copy that the MPP provided, which was not on the original that he
No, it didn't come with the original. Right. But he is saying that what the MPP brought, it has a rejected ballot, but what he did doesn't have a rejected ballot. But he accepts that the vote for the two candidates are correct.
Okay, but that will still pose a challenge.
That one, I don't want to comment on that. Let's leave that to the returning officer.
So review him to the returning officer.
That is the communication between the presiding officer and the returning officer.
Right.
So it's left to the returning officer to take it. It's not me. It's left to the returning officer. Then the third one too came and said that the handwritings are his, but he can neither validate the figures nor reject them. So that one to the returning officer will have to, either he has to bring the guy again. I don't know. So we had wanted to meet again with all this information for the return officer. And the last time the return officer was saying that he's been there for about 6 or 7 years, frustrated. So he thinks that the party should go and do their own thing, you know. But I don't know what I was and I said that we have not gotten there. Because your work is done, you can't say you have done. And the return officer has done well. He's very courageous.
Well, that's Dr. Sebo Akweko, the in charge of training at the Electoral Commission, detailing exactly what happened at the last instance when the Electoral Commission tried to finish up its work in the Ablekuma North constituency. And that's what you see there. The High Court gave a directive. The coalition for the Ablekuma North began on the 8th of January, was halted due to the 3 missing polling station results. You heard Dr. Sebo Akweko talk about that these 3 polling stations results are crucial because the total votes in there could tilt the pendulum from one side to the other. And so they cannot declare an MP-elect in the Ablekuma North constituency without the results of these 3 missing polling stations. And that's why it stalled the entire process. They wanted security. They requested police security to resume the collation on the 17th of January. Well, the police, if you recall, advised the Electoral Commission that they had picked intelligence that they were not going to be safe in doing that. And so they had to, as it were, advise them to postpone the entire exercise. We've seen videos, and we were heavy on that, in the particular coalition center where the Electoral Commission was collating this Ablekuma North constituency results, the violence and the misunderstanding that ensued. We've been showing you videos of the broken lover blades and others and destroyed property in that particular area. The Electoral Commission now has been told by the Ghana Police Service, and that's what you see there, they've been told by the Ghana Police Service to provide a roadmap. Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer is Deputy Director of IT and Elections for the NDC. He is also the acting CEO of GIFEC, is joining us right now on Zoom. Appreciate your time. Good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Alfred.
Hearing the IGP now give this directive or a call to the Electoral Commission to provide a roadmap to close the chapter on the Ablekuma North constituency because they are ready to provide security. That certainly must come some refreshing news for you. I mean, the political parties and the NDC, MPP as well, is it not?
Alfred, certainly not the case.
Why?
I think the IGP, in fact, let me just lay the foundation very clear. The Electoral Commission is very evasive in these processes.
Why do you say that?
They are not telling the IGP the truth and the general public. As far as 17th March, we wrote a letter to them concerning the Ablekuma North issue. Electoral Commission.
17th
expecting
March.
That they will respond.
You wrote a letter on the 17th of March to the EC.
March. Yes.
What was the letter about? What was the
Commission.
content of the letter? What were you asking for?
The content was about the status of the 62 polling stations pink sheets, of which the Electoral Commission indicated they didn't have. And then we pointed out the criminal conduct of the MPP having brought scanned copies which their own presiding officers and returning officers rejected them, yet they were being forced to use them to declare the results. The 59 polling stations that they are talking about are scanned copies of MPP. They are not Electoral Commission documents. These are MPP documents which were being forced on the EC, and yet senior officers of the Electoral Commission were abating such criminal conduct. And then so we pointed all this out to them, expecting them to respond. They didn't respond. We followed them with another letter about 2 weeks later, reminding them our earlier letter. Just yesterday, we sent a letter to the IGP requesting for a meeting with the IGP to lay bare our case, our issue concerning Ablekuma North. That meeting has not come in, I believe, because of the meeting he had with the EC, and then I don't know why the NCC were even part of that meeting today. I don't know who invited them to that meeting. Because all along, this NCC leadership is too hypocritical that I don't know, and look at the statement they were making over there.
Well, what's the hypocrisy in there, Dr. Ashitanko? When you say the leadership of the election task force is being hypocritical about this.
No, I'm talking of the NCC.
The NCC. Well, they
yes.
say that.
What were they doing in that meeting?
Well, are they not part of the task force?
Well, if they are part of the task force, if they had done their work and they were part and parcel of all the process we're talking about.
No, so if they are part of the task force, why are you questioning their presence in the meeting?
We wouldn't be where we are.
But their appeal is that
the statement.
Right, but then again, their appeal the NCC made is that you should all, I mean, calling on the constituents and by extension the political parties to ensure that peace and democracy prevails so that the people in the Ablekuma North will have representation in parliament. What's wrong with that?
Alfred, the woman was there talking about we accepting the results as declared by the Electoral Commission. We should all abide by it. Who told her that we should accept? Is that how they accept results? Is that how she's educating people about their electoral rights and all that? Is that how they accept it? Because her party, the MPP, brought scanned copies.
How do you know that she's a member of the MPP? I don't think that it will be fair on her to say that. I don't think it will be fair on her to say that. You have concerns about the NCC's conduct, but not to necessarily, brandish her with the party affiliation. That's all right. But then again, your concern is that your concern is that the Electoral Commission has to do more. What the Ghana Police Service is saying is that they should provide a roadmap so that they will close the chapter on this matter. And I'm saying, is that not some good news for you?
No, what roadmap? I mean, that's why I'm saying that we want to meet the IGP. We
Right.
wrote to him. And now, when we meet the IGP, we will do, what kind of roadmap are they going to do? When it borders on criminal conduct, as people have gone to concoct and scan copies and brought it, and presiding officers, look, when you were interviewing Dr. Sribo, he indicated some of the criminal activities that they saw, because what the presiding officer said, look, how come you, the presiding officer himself, agreed that, look, these figures are not correct because I didn't have rejected ballot on my pink sheet, but somebody brought a pink sheet that has rejected ballot. That's a criminal conduct. It means somebody concocted it. And yet we are accepting things like that. And you accepted 59 of such scanned copies from MPP. And you are telling us three are left. We are not accepting the three. We are still standing on our grounds that there are 62 polling stations pink sheets, which the Electoral Commission don't have. They cannot use the scanned copies of MPP.
So
that
there's
is our
nowhere
position.
in the law.
And we'll make it very clear.
Right. And there's nowhere they can't find any solace in the law, the Electoral Commission, in relying on this scanned pink sheets of the MPP. That flies in the face of the law, you say?
Yes, Alfred, that is it.
Okay.
Look at reading of the this in CI 127. There's no portion of it that is allowed to use scanned copies of your opponent. What is happening is that we are having original one and carbon copies. Political parties are given carbon copies. Then the EC will have the original. So what is happening is that when there is a problem, the political party, if the EC crowd loses their original, we can rely on the carbon copies of the political parties. But what do we see now? We are talking of scan copies. Somebody just sat down, use a laptop and design it.
Right.
And brought it out for you people to use. And you think that we should accept it. Then this will not accept such a resource.
I see. So if you're not going to accept it, then what's going to be the next step for you as a party?
The next step is to go and do a rerun for these 62 polling stations. Let's go and all agree to have a rerun of election for the 62 polling stations. And we'll resolve the matter. How many minutes will it take us to run the election for 62 polling stations?
I see. So that's the demand. You want a rerun of the 62 polling stations, not the counting of the 3 remaining polling station results.
Yes, that is what. Alfred, that is what we are looking for.
Okay.
We are demanding that there should be a rerun for the 62 polling station, and then a clear winner will emerge from it. Simple and short, but not to use MPP scan copies and run it up to 59, and you are not telling them with even 3 to add up to it and declare results. We will not accept that.
Which avenue do you intend to use to make this demand?
We are going to meet the IGP. We wrote to him, and we want to advance our case before him if he invites us for the meeting.
Dr. Ashitanko, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us.
I'm grateful.
Dr. Ashitanko Computer is Deputy Director of IT and Elections for the NDC, also acting CEO of GIFEC. This is Ghana Tonight. Right after this quick break, we'll tell you and share in the good news of the Catholic community across the globe following the successful election of America's Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost as the new pontiff, whose name is Pope Leo XIV. There's a meaning behind this name. It fits into the expectation and what his vision will be for the Catholic Church. Stay with us. We have a conversation with the Catholic Bishops' Conference right after this. Stay with us. inside the Vatican during the conclave over the period. Now, what we do know is that out of the 133, 17 of them were of African origin. 17. It was supposed to be 18, but a cardinal from Kenya declined, couldn't make it to be part of this conclave. Any one of them needed 2/3 of the vote to become the next pope, and that has been done now. And let's look at the moment the new pope was outdoored. Take a look at this. After 25 hours, 37 minutes, 58 seconds in conclave. This is a new pope. And as we indicated earlier, there are some 10 very interesting facts about him. From Chicago to the Amazon, a missionary bishop, a surprise cardinal, because many people in the Vatican and watchers were stunned when he was named as cardinal in September 2022. He wasn't on most experts' shortlist. His elevation confirmed his behind-the-scenes influence in church governance. In fact, it's on record that the late Pope Francis was the one who brought him to the Vatican some 2 years ago in 2023. Now, a key player in the Synod of Synodality, and also the first Augustinian to lead the dicastery for bishops in 2023. He made history as the first member of the Order of St. Augustine to head the powerful dicastery for bishops, which oversees the selection of bishops worldwide. We'll find out whether this office also maybe played to his favor in all of this and his appointment. And then also we do see the only U.S. cardinal leading a major Vatican office, a former pizza delivery boy. In fact, by the history we do know now, before entering the priesthood, the new pope worked humble jobs, including delivering pizzas in Chicago. And this is why I bring in Reverend Father Michael Kweku, is Director of Governance, Justice, Peace, the Ghana Catholic Bishops Conference, joining us, a chaplain to Parliament, the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. Reverend Father, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Very many thanks to you all for this second round of interviewing, not the third, but I'm grateful.
Indeed, it's a day that we celebrate with you, and congratulations to you and the Catholic community is in order.
Thank you very much.
But it's interesting, some of the detail we get to hear of the popes when they are elected. I mean, the late Pope Francis was a bouncer at the nightclub.
Yes.
right? And then we're getting to know the new Pope was also a former pizza delivery boy. Interesting, is it not?
Indeed, it is indeed, yes. It just tells us that everyone has a future. It just tells us that God has a plan for everyone. We only have to be docile to his promptings and his direction.
And what does this election really tell you in terms of the vision, the next phase of the church, and the name that he has chosen? Because this Pope Leo XIV, the Leo, was chosen at his liberty, is it not?
Yes, the church gives every elected pope the liberty to either use his own Christian name with which he is baptized, or any other Christian name, especially of a pope who has come and gone. And therefore, in this case, he is the 14th of the Leos. So the first one would be Leo the Great, who would have been elected in the first part of the 5th century. So 440, that was when he was elected, and he would have been pope for about 21 years. So he then, I'm sure, is informed by the legacies and then the leadership style of the Leos, and I presume it would be also Leo the Great, or the first.
I see. But then again, also being the very first pope elected from the United States of America, how significant is this in the scheme of analysis?
It is significant to the extent that, I mean, he's the first from America, but we know from the Americas he's not the first, because of course we have the example of our recently departed Holy Father Francis from Argentina. But the significance for me of his election from America just tells us that the church's awareness of God's gift across the globe is expanding. But beyond that, I think it also means that the cardinals who met in conclave did some consultation, some discernment. I'm sure during the general congregations, when they presented their own perspectives of how the world is growing and how the church should be a powerful voice of God's presence. Then a vision or an idea of who should lead the church at this time will gradually build in the minds and the hearts of the cardinal electors. So I think it is the combination of their own discernment, but also of the promptings of God directing them to see who would be the most suited candidate for this rather lofty position in God's house.
I see. But so then you cannot also rule out the influence, even if it is subtle, of the geopolitics globally. For instance, the considerations in voting, the cardinals also voting, is it not? Because you say they're looking at the growing influence of the church, the Catholic Church, in global affairs. So that's some geopolitics at play within the religious context.
This is the way I'll look at it. I think that it is important to make the distinction between being conditioned by the dynamics of geopolitics and being aware of the value of geopolitics. So of course the cardinals who meet in conclave are experienced men who understand how the world works, and so of course they would understand how the church must relate to the world to which she is sent by her divine master. But we must not allow ourselves to think that the cardinals who meet in conclave are therefore conditioned by the realities of geopolitics. They are aware of it. They understand how it works. But I wouldn't for once think that men whose first preoccupation is to look for the will of God, and to make sure to live according to the will of God as revealed in the Word of God and in sacred tradition would be conditioned merely by the dynamics and implications of geopolitics. Well, that would be pathetic indeed. But I think there are men who will be working and operating beyond those realms.
I see. And maybe finally, before I let you go, I referenced earlier the position that he held before becoming Pope today. That very powerful position of heading the dicastery for bishops, essentially overseeing the selection of bishops worldwide. I mean, could that also have played a role? I mean, essentially because this is a man who is known by the cardinals in there. He played a key role in their rise as well. So did that also play a role from what you said?
Definitely. Well, I mean, it means he's somebody who understands leadership, because if he is involved in the selection and approval of leaders, people, men who be leading God's church in the particular territories or jurisdictions and all of that, he ought to be able to understand the leadership styles necessary for these men who are not merely, if you want, administrators, but who are pastors, who are shepherds, who are supposed to guide God's people. So of course he should have the acumen for it. But we should not forget that he also used to be the Master General of the Augustinians. So he himself has been in a leadership position. He has taught those who would eventually become priests, but has also became a provincial and then rose to become the general. So he has headed a whole religious congregation within the church before, if you want, the Augustinian congregation worldwide. So he should have a wider vision of things, and that I think is a plus to him becoming the president or the prefect of this dicastery. And there too, I'm sure he met and dealt with a good number of men who became bishops, but also beyond just becoming bishops, relating with them and helping them to deal with the challenges of their own leadership in their own milieu and context. So he definitely should be a man of a certain level of experience and giftedness.
Right. Reverend Father Michael Kweko, thank you very much. Congratulations to you and the Catholic community once again.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it. The Director of Governance, Justice and Peace at the Ghana Catholic Bishops Conference, and also a chaplain to the Parliament of Ghana, helping us with some knowledge to understand how things are played out. And now we have a new Pope. Now, it's more of this on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. On behalf of the rest of the team, I want to say thank you so much for staying with us here on Ghana Tonight. So it's probably brought to you by Flamingo Paint, Simply Superior, Sasso Insecticide Spray and Coil, Tum Tum Precom. We're back tomorrow with another conversation, but join the New Day team tomorrow morning on Sunrise 3 FM 92.7 as well. Have a good night.